Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Monday to you. Happy President's Day to you if you're here in the US and enjoying your break like me. Yes, I have a day off today, but of course we're here on Story Time and ready to share a good story together. And of course, remember this week we have special books that are up for reading, and we're looking definitely at, we're celebrating and remembering Black history, but also Black present and Black futures. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me on Story Time today. I am glad you are here. Please, as always, let me know who is joining in with you and where you're joining us from. I am glad you're here. We have a special book today, and this one is called More to Me. Yes, indeed. There is more to each and every one of us here today. Thank you so much for joining in. And this one is written by Nnamdi McDowell and illustrated by Cory Cooley. Yes, indeed. This is a special story, more to me than meets the eye. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here. I hope you're ready for our story today. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining in. Let us see who is with us and joining us for story time today. Good morning. All the way out in Arizona, Mrs. Knight. How are you doing today? And Mrs. Knight, please let me know who is joining in with you today, if you have anybody joining in with you. And of course, thank you as always for joining us. Please do let us know. I am glad you're here. Arizona in the house, first through the door. And good morning to you as well. Oh my goodness, Marietta, how are you doing? And Henry, and special guest today. Good morning to you, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us. And Marietta, Nick, and Henry are joining us from Harvard, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, Nick, welcome to Story Time. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining in. Henry, good job bringing dad and mom to the show. Thank you so much. Good morning to you and welcome to Story Time. Oh, love it. I love it when families read together, when families come together for a great story. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh, goodness. Thank you. Good morning to you, Lerato Chisomo. How are you doing? And you say right on time. Yes, indeed you are. Thank you so much for joining in. And Lerato Chisomo, please remind me the beautiful names of your kids so we can say hi to them one more time. Thank you so much. And you're joining us from Zambia. You're in Solwezi, right? Thank you so much for joining in. Good evening to you out there. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, good morning to you, Jennifer Vedder. How are you doing today? I think that's the first time I've ever said Jennifer before. Jen Vedder, good morning to you. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it that you're here. I hope you're enjoying your break, Jen Vedder, but I'm still glad that my class still gets to see you tomorrow for library. So it's great. I'm glad Tuesday is not a holiday. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you, Jen Vedder. How are you doing? Oh, Sarah and Nathan in Illinois, and you're saying in snowy white Illinois. Oh my goodness. It has been snowing there for so long. I hope you're staying warm. I hope you're staying safe. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Always a pleasure. Always so good to see you here, Sarah and Nathan, and of course to you as well, Amanda West. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining in Story Time today. Madalena, Ian, and Judo in rainy San Francisco. Yes, you and I are together. Rainy Auckland as well. Yes, indeed, across the bridge from me, Judo and Madalena. Good morning to you. How are you doing? Great to see you here on Storytime. I hope you also have a break and are enjoying it. And of course, Storytime together. Thank you so much for joining in. Ellen Edwards in snowy Chicago. How are you doing today? Ellen Edwards, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure seeing you here. Thank you so much. A big, big hug for you. Thank you for joining in Storytime. I am glad you are here. Oh my goodness. JJ from Seattle, how are you doing today, buddy? Hey, I've been loving your music. Keep it coming, keep it coming. It is brilliant. Thank you so much. And of course, Priska Kim, good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for entertaining us. Good morning to you. I am glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining in. JJ and Priska out in Seattle. Good morning to you. Well, good morning to you, Luca and Julie in cloudy Bogota. How are you doing in Bogota, Colombia? Thank you so much for joining in. Always a pleasure. And Luca, keep that art coming. Keep it coming. We love it. We love it. It is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Good morning to you, Luca, and good morning to you, Julie, out in Bogota, Colombia. Thank you so much. And Lerato Chisomo, thank you for reminding me. Chikondi and Temwani joined in. Well, good morning to you, Chikondi, and good morning to you, Temwani. Lerato, could you put the meanings of those names? I just love the richness that those names represent. Please do share the meanings so that the rest of Storytime community can get to share that as well. Thank you so much. And you say right before bed. Well, I will try and keep my energy down for you too, so you can go to bed. Good luck with that. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you one more time. Chikondi and Temwani, and of course, Lerato Chisomo. Thank you, thank you. Oh, just gonna be late for dinner. No. Turn better. Thank you. Good morning to you, Paulina. How are you doing? And you're joining in from Caridad in Austin, Texas. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you. And Paulina, is this your first time on Storytime? I am glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have anybody joining in with you, Paulina, please do let us know. Thank you so much for joining in today. And of course, Storytime is not complete nowadays without the homeschooling kinfolk in Nakitosh, Louisiana. How are you doing today? Braylon, Kavaya, and Chad, good morning to you. And of course, Pamela Courtney as well. Auntie Pam, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I am glad you are here. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we will be getting started with our story right now. And today we are reading More to Me. More to Me. So let us get started with that one. This one is called More to Me, written by Nnamdi McDowell and illustrations by Cory Cooley. And More to Me, the story of a 7-foot-tall third grader. Are you ready? Awesome. Here we go. And I love this part too, that Nnamdi McDowell puts right at the beginning. And it says, it takes more than your eyes to clearly see someone for who they really are. Beautiful. Absolutely. There is more in you than you know. All right. Since Skip was so tall, everyone thought he should play basketball. Have you ever seen a third grader that was 7 feet tall? His friends always laughed at how clumsy he was. When he tried to play ball, he would always trip. Oh. He was so embarrassed. The next day, he tried skipping school and pretending to be sick. Oh, you can still do it, Skip. Skip's mom would always tell him, be proud of who you are, no matter what people say. Now get up and get dressed and get ready for the day. As Skip walked into the school, his big shoes covered the floor. He bumped his head at the top of every door. Oh, no. Despite being so tall, there was always more to Skip than you could see with your eyes, no matter his height, color, shape, or his size. Yep. His legs were too long. The desks were too small to sit. Skip was just way too tall for his legs to ever fit. Oh. Being so young and tall, Skip would always stand out. People focused on his height without learning what he was about. Skip loved his music and playing his little flute that made kids smile with every whistle and every toot. Kids' laughter turned to cheers as they all began to dance. They all loved Skip's true talent when they finally gave him a chance. You see, everyone has a gift to the world that is special and unique. You can be very short, or you can stand 7 feet tall. But you have a special gift, and it is unique. So, never judge people by what they look like. Try this with all your might, because Skip's gift to the world was always bigger than his height. You have everything you need inside of you to be great. So be great. You have a purpose in this world. The end. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. That was our story for today, and it was More to Me. Thank you so much for joining in by Mnamdi McDowell and illustrations by Cory Cooley. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope indeed it helps remind all our kids out there and adults too that may we be true to ourselves. May we find our true selves. And of course, like Skip's mom was in the book, may we find those people around us that can encourage us and push us to find our dreams and indeed support us on our course, on our way to achieving those dreams. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime, a very special book with a very special message indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed it. That was More to Me. There's always more to people if we take time to peel off the layers and get to know the real person behind it all. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope you enjoyed that one. That is a really cool, sweet story indeed with a very, very big lesson. And this story has it has this image that I thought, it has this image where it says there is more in you than you know. And at the back, it has an outline. So if you do get a copy for yourself or get a copy on from your library, you will see that at the back, it has an empty one that you could fill up for yourself. What is inside you? So at home today, what you could do is just draw an outline of yourself or an outline of a person and fill in whatever is good about you. Only the good stuff. Just fill in the good stuff. There's a lot of it. Whether you love art, you love your parents, you love your neighbors, you love to laugh, you're amazing, you're special. So fill out that. And if you can, please do share it and let us know all the beautiful things about you. But try it at home. draw out an outline and fill out all the good things in there. You're brave, you're special, you're strong, you're powerful. Yes, indeed, you are beautiful. So fill out those and share it if you can. But of course, if not, do share it with the people at home. And I hope you get to enjoy the activity as well. That was More to Me by Nnamdi McDowell. Yes, indeed. Tomorrow we are back with another story. And this one is New Baby Coming, New Baby Here. So join in for that one and find out what it's all about. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. One more time, let us see who is with us. Good morning to you. Yes, indeed. Pamela Courtney, back at you one more time. And of course, Kevaya, Braylon, and Chad, good morning to you. And you say we've had snow and sleet, so the kinfolk couldn't make it here today. Well, I hope they got to tune in at home anyways. Thank you so much. I did not see that part of the message earlier, but absolutely thank you for joining in, Pamela. And of course, I hope the kids were joining in wherever they are as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Mrs. Knight in Arizona, you say great story. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh my goodness, I have not seen you in a while. Eva Wells and Ocean, Isabella, how are you doing in San Francisco? Well, thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here. This is why I love sometimes being here on holidays, because then people have time off to actually join in story time today. Thank you so much. Danny Rodriguez, good morning to you. Isabella, Luis, and Leslie, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining in right here in Oakland. I hope you enjoyed that story. And you say that was a good book. Thank you. Absolutely beautiful book. I love it. Thank you. Please do check out it. If you can get it from your local library, or indeed, if you can get yourself a copy, check out the links below. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh, yes, indeed. Jen Vetta, thank you so much. You say, see you in library class tomorrow. We'll be reading Trombone Shorty to celebrate Mardi Gras and New Orleans. Well, thank you so much, Jen Vetta. I held back not reading it before you did, so we're good. Thank you so much for joining in. And I thank today, too, a big shout out to you, Nick, for joining us out in Harvard, Massachusetts with Henry and Marietta. Thank you so much for joining in. Everybody that joined in, this has been story time for today. I am glad you're here. Oh, thank you. And Paulina, you say it was your first time with story time. Well, you are welcome. And I hope to see you many more times here on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining us today. Absolutely love it. And please, Paulina, do remind me where you joined in from and if anybody else was joining in with you. But welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, the community is growing, and of course the love. Let's share the love. Let's make sure that we are making our places better than we found them. And of course, let us make sure that we do our very best to make this world a better place, not just for you, but for everybody else around you as well. This has been story time for today. Thank you so much. If you're like me and you have a day off, enjoy it and get back. I wish you a great week coming up. But of course, enjoy your Monday. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you're going to bed like it is in Zambia, good night to you, sweetest of dreams. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Much love from me, and I will see you again here tomorrow when we're back with another exciting story. One more time before we go with Matiana and Caridad from Austin, Texas. Well, thank you so much, and I hope I got those names correctly. Or is it Mariana or Matiana? Matiana and Caridad in Austin, Texas. Thank you so much for joining us with Paulina. Thank you. Much love from me, and bye-bye.
Some people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. We'll be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.